Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on your part of the world. Hello, hello. All right, this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, we're trying something new. I created a new Warlock. We're going to be doing a melee playthrough. We'll be using mostly the Eldritch skill tree, which is focused around melee combat, mostly. We won't be using Echoing Strike. It does use weapon damage, but it's a little bit overpowered and possibly buggy, so we're not going to be using that. We're going to be focusing mostly on this middle tree here. Cleave, which allows you to do splash damage to enemies in front of you. And Mirrored Blades, which is good for excuse me, single target damage. As far as I know, I haven't actually tried this build, but we're going to try it today. We'll be using some hexes. We'll be dipping a bit into the demon tree, or some meat shields, mostly. And as far as chaos skills go, we're going to be working with some sigils, but we won't be touching the fire. This side is the fire skills. We won't be using these, and we won't be using the miasma-based skills either. While both sets do have some stats that would work for a caster-type build, I wanted to go for melee and try that out. They also have a lot of stats that work well with melee. So we'll go over each of the items and then we'll start the playthrough. We won't be able to see the set bonuses until we equip them, but that's okay. So first we've got Bane's set. All three items can be used at level 8. We have the dagger. It has 20% faster run walk, which is pretty nice. Early on, it can be hard to find some faster run walk. And being able to run away a little faster if we're getting in danger or fight enemies is good. And +1 to max damage based on character level. That means every level it will again get +1 maximum damage. So starting at level 8, when we can equip it, it will have +8 to max damage. That's pretty good for scaling for damage. Anything that adds to max damage usually is pretty good. So that'll be pretty good to use. Also, it's a very fast attack speed, so that'll be pretty good for dealing damage fast. Bane's Wraith Skin, the armor has pretty high defense and magic resist 30%, which is a pretty rare stat in this game. Not a lot of enemies do magic damage, but the ones that do can be pretty dangerous, mostly because you usually can't get much magic resist. But this mitigates some of it, so that's pretty good. The belt, as I was saying, there are some stats on these pieces of gear that are more geared toward casters. 10% faster cast rate is going to be negligibly useful. It will help us put our sigils out faster, and we will be able to use the teleport type skill, which we'll get to once we get there, a little bit faster. But the 20 to life is always nice. Any kind of life is always going to be good for survivability. So this is going to be what we use mostly through normal and nightmare, because its level 8 requirement is low. And then once we can start equipping Horazon set, each item has different level requirements. So this is the essentially shield slot. and it is required level 57. The helmet requires level 62. Gloves require level 48. Armor 55. And boots level 67. Once we equip the final piece, which will be the boots, we will take off the Bane set, which means we'll be able to switch weapons. While this might scale well through normal and even nightmare, I don't think it'll be very good in hell. So we'll probably want to find a better weapon once we hit hell difficulty. The boots are great. Got faster run walk, strength and dexterity, never going amiss. Some of that magic resist we were talking about. Cannot be frozen is possibly one of the most pivotal modifiers to have on a piece of gear, especially for a melee character. When you're fighting in melee and you get chilled or frozen, you attack way slower and you move way slower. So that can be very, very dangerous. So this is very nice to have. And then, of course, requirement reduction, which is nice for any character, just not having to put in as many stats into, or points into stats that you would otherwise put into vitality for survivability. Armor. Plus the demon skills. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to have demons as meat shields. High defense. 100 mana. Again, not going to really hurt anything. We will be using some amounts of mana. And then resistances to cold, lightning, and fire. All, of course, good for survivability. The helmet. +1 to Warlock skills across the board. 1% bonus to attack rating. That scales just like the dagger in the Bane set. You get 1% per level. So at level 62, when we equip this, we'll have plus 62% bonus to attack rating, which is pretty massive. Attack rating is the stat used to calculate if we hit a monster. So we definitely will want to get as much attack rating as possible. 15 strength, again, just fine. Helps us wear other gear. And magic damage reduced by 8. The number's not huge, but it's not nothing either. That means each hit that's magic-based will deal 8 less damage. And that can really, honestly, scale over time. Multiple hits. Most monsters don't do large amounts of single hit damage. Don't do large amounts of damage in a single hit. It's usually over multiple hits, so this mitigates quite a bit of damage, actually. And then the shield slot. +2 to Eldritch skills. That's the main tree that we'll be using for melee. 30% faster hit recovery means when you're getting hit, you recover faster. Hit recovery is relatively dangerous because it happens when you take a certain percentage of your health in damage. And if you're recovering from a hit, you can't move and you can't attack. So faster hit recovery will never go amiss. Increased chance to block. I will probably try for max block. In this game, dexterity increases your chance to block and scales up to a possible cap of 75%. So we'll probably want to try to get max block. Blocking 75% of hits is obviously good. Vitality for survivability along with that life, really good. And the gloves. Add some extra attack rating, add some fire damage to our attacks, both good. 10% chance of crushing blow is awesome. Crushing blow, for those of you who don't know, when a crushing blow hits, it deals a percentage of the monster's remaining health. So if they have 100% health, let me find the numbers for that, actually. I know it's a percentage, I just don't remember what the percentage is. For melee weapons, it takes 25% of a monster's HP away. And that's the HP that they have currently, not their max HP. So if a monster has 100% of its life, it'll take 25% of its life away down. And we'll say it has 100 life. It'll go down to 75 life instantly if you hit a crushing blow. Champions, uniques, and bosses, they take half of that, 12.5%. But either way, crushing blow is great for chunking down enemies. The lower their health gets, the lower damage it does, because it is based on their remaining life. So we still need to have good damage to finish them off, but it will really help to get the fights started. So crushing blow is great. Dexterity's not going to go amiss. And 35 life, of course, is great. We're going to start from the beginning as a melee character and continue on through Hell Baal to beat the game. That is the goal. We may revisit the Barbarian we started earlier, but I thought a Warlock playthrough would be fun since the Warlock is pretty new. And I've been wanting to try out some of its other skills anyway. I did build a demon-based Warlock, which is a lot of fun. So we're going to try this melee build too. All right, let's get right into it and just head right out and start fighting some monsters. So a little trick you can do early on if you want to get some extra experience is type in slash players, and then you put a number from 1 to 8. This will simulate a number of players being in an online game. Since we're playing single player, we can adjust it this way. You can't do this online, but if you're offline, this can help you get extra experience. Monsters will deal more damage, have more HP, but will also give you more experience, and also will have better drop tables, or rather, it will reduce the amount of times when monsters will drop nothing. So that helps you get more stuff. But we're going to start with player 8 to get extra experience.
These creatures of darkness shall yield to me, or perish.
Alright, one adjustment I like to make is to put my attack on the right trigger. It just feels natural to me to attack that way. As you can see, the monsters have a lot more HP when you do this, but you get a lot of experience when you kill them. Yeah, it's 3 whole bars. It's 30% of my required experience to level up in 1 kill. Good stuff. Alright, this is the Den of Evil. This is the first quest. We'll come back here once we get the waypoint to the first... Well, once we get the first waypoint. Kill a few monsters on the way to try to get our first level up. As you can see, the Warlock levitates his weapons, which is pretty cool, I think. Some people think it's silly, but I like it. Also notably, Warlock can equip two-handed weapons in a single hand because he's levitating them, and still use a shield. So that will open up a lot of possibilities for a good melee weapon. Other than the set items we granted ourselves, this is going to be a solo self-found playthrough. So hopefully we can find a good weapon as we play through to go with the Horazon set. Dodging these monsters, just want to get the waypoint. Alright, well, we can kill these since we ran out of stamina. For those of you who don't know, next to the health bar, there's a bar... the mana globe, rather. There is a stamina bar. As you run, it lowers. And once it's out, you can only walk. All right, head back to town. Early on, when you don't have a lot of gold,
There is a plate.
usually it's good to like pick up one scroll town portal, although I don't have enough gold for that. That's fine. The Den of Evil's just outside town, so it's not a big deal. And we'll get gold while we're there. It's usually good to have a scroll town portal on you, though, so you can get back to town when you need to. And then pretty early on, you start getting...
Another den of evil? Let's root them all out.
You get the Tome of Town Portal, which can hold multiple scrolls. Should be able to get to level 8 pretty quickly with players 8 settings. Then we can start using the Bane set. For this first quest, you got to clear out the entire den. An easy rule of thumb is just fill out the map. That way you don't miss any monsters. Another level up. I'm going to hang on to my stat points and skills until I hit level 8. We'll equip this set and then pick skills from there. Until then, we're just gonna basic attack. Look at all that HP. Got it. Alright, you want to go for these shamans first, because they can revive the little guys. The little red guys called Fallen. So kill them, and then you can kill off the little guys. Oops. Attack in the air there. Well, how nice of that Fallen to let me finish off the zombie before he came and attacked me. Okay, diamond. Also, to let you know, we're going to be streaming for 2 hours, wrapping up around 2:15, and then I'll be streaming again this evening at 6, and that's all Pacific time. Currently, it is 12:29 here where I'm at. So we'll be streaming for almost 2 more hours. Just an FYI, I am using controller. I do enjoy using the controller. When I was younger and played the game for the first time, we didn't have that option. We just played keyboard and mouse. And I still do that sometimes, but I do enjoy playing with the controller. One stab at a time. It'll be a pretty slow start, but once we get our first set, it should speed up. It's also relatively slow because we are on players 8. The monsters have a lot more HP. Like to pick up throwing potions like fulminating and strangling gas potions. In the first couple acts, they sell for a decent amount of gold, and they only take up 1 slot in your inventory. Roll Town Portal, that's useful. Oh, go for the shaman, get rid of him. A sword might be able to use that. In fact, let's go back and identify this scroll. Just get away from the monsters so we don't get attacked while we're checking it out. Use this healing shrine. Alright, what's this sword do? Poison damage, cold damage, max damage. Yeah, that'll be good. Monster followed us. Okay. So we do 1 to 5 with this dagger. Let's throw this sword on. 9 to 17, that is a nice little upgrade. We won't be using it very long, but that's okay. It'll just carry us until we hit level 8. It attacks a bit slower, but it does a lot more damage. Word staff. So staves, wands, daggers. Actually, check that out. 3 to Hex Bane. Well, that's pretty cool. I'll put that on swap. And then I will bind Hex Bane skill. So we can apply it. Without having to put points in it yet. We're going to be putting points in it at some point, but points in it at some point. Anyway, each of the hexes do something different. This one hexes your weapon to impair enemies and add magic damage. So it reduces their chance to hit me. It also reduces their defense, which helps me hit them. It adds to my chance to hit even above that by adding to my attack rating. Adds an extra bit of damage. And it lasts 144 seconds, so a little over 2 minutes. So we can swap to it and cast it and then swap back. Very useful. And we'll be using that skill, putting points in it, but I'm going to wait to put any skills or stats in until we are level 8 and we can equip the set. Stamina potions are also good to pick up early so that you can just keep running when you're trying to get through areas or just get from point A to point B. So the Den of Evil has a single boss pack You might have seen them on screen there for a minute. I like to save them for last. The first quest requires you to clear out every single monster in the Den of Evil. You can see there the revival of the fallen monsters. You might ask yourself, well, can't you use that to get some XP? Well, unfortunately, first time you kill a fallen, you get XP, but after it gets revived, you don't get XP for killing it. So, it's just a waste of time. So it's definitely worth killing the shamans first. Alright, Corpse Fire. Always has Spectral Hit. There we go. It's not hard at all, honestly.
The evil of this place departs with me.
Okay. Then we can head back to town. Sell off some loot.
You have cleansed.
One to max damage, nothing wrong with that. A little bit of attack rating as well. Like to hang on to jewels, even if they're not useful for their intended purpose of socketing. They can also be used in crafting later on. We'll go over crafting in more detail later, but they are one of the ingredients in crafting recipes. Sell off these potions. Throwing weapons can also be nice early gold. Only take up 2 slots and sell for either 720 or a little bit more if they have stats. That's a lot of plus skills for an early wand. Notably, it sells for 5,000 gold, which is the max that vendors can buy items for in Act 1 normal. So when they sell for that amount, I like to save them in the stash until we get to a later act and get the maximum gold out of them. So we'll throw that in the stash. I think the one we have is better, so the amplified damage can be nice, but again, we're going to be using the Bane's weapon pretty soon, and so it's not important to find a good weapon right now. That will be what we use for for normal and for probably all of Nightmare, if not most of Nightmare difficulty. Okay. 5 to 8. I think the one we have is still better. Don't need that anymore. Okay. Organize our inventory. Alright, with a little bit of gold, let's go buy some sort of...
Welcome out, my rogue scout.
See?
Hi there.
Yeah, we'll just buy a basic belt for now. Just whatever we can afford. 60 gold. Just to get some slots for potions. But, of course, again, once we hit level 8, we will be using the belt from the Bane set, so. And stuff there. Some jewels. And we'll be using the shared stash tabs, but for now I need to clean them out, so for now we're just going to put the gems in here. Okay. Alright, we completed that quest. And now we gotta go kill the Blood Raven. Stamina Shrine's pretty nice for not running out of stamina for a little bit. Ah, there he is. Alright, we are level 6. 2 more levels and we'll be able to use the set. And we'll be assigning our skill points and stat points. Ah, Bishy Bosh. He's a special shaman that can revive other shamans. So, gotta kill him before you can keep the other shamans dead. Always cool to shatter bodies. Nice effect because, especially with the Fallen, if the body shatters, the shamans can't revive them. Coming along nicely. Heal up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to make a beeline for the burial grounds so we can take out the Blood Raven. Pick up some healing potions. There we go. Alright, so this path will lead us to both the next area in progression and also to the burial grounds. It will split at some point. One path will take us to the burial grounds, the other path will take us to the next area. So you can see the path splits here. I'm going to guess this upper path will take us to the burial grounds. So the AI of the Fallen makes them run away from you whenever a monster dies. So if you're in a big pack with them, usually you want to kill the other monsters first, because they won't run away. And then the Fallen are pretty easy to mop up. Don't really need to kill all of them. They don't give a ton of experience, honestly, and we're better served running to the next area and getting more XP because of higher level monsters. I think this is probably the burial grounds. It's in the corner of the map, as you can see here. This is the corner of this map. The entrance to the burial grounds is usually in the corner. The entrance to the next area is going to be in the middle of one of the sides of the entire area. Here we are.
Oh, undead make for such poor servants.
Seems like a bit of a jab against the necromancer.
Join my army of the dead.
Blood Raven. If you've played the first game, she is the rogue hero that you can play as in the first game. She was seeking power to help protect her sisters, and unfortunately she was corrupted and fell from the light, and now commands an undead army. In game practice, that means she raises zombies. There we go, level 7, one more level and we'll be able to use the set. I should probably carve myself a path out of here. Oh, I might die here. I don't have any healing potions. Yep. Oh, you know, I took a little bit too much of a risk there. Should have had more healing potions on hand. That's okay.
Greetings.
This is a PSA of what not to do. I don't have any gold. Oh, I must have dropped it. That's okay. We have some stuff to sell. Oh. Okay. Throw that shield on. Why not? Oh, it's a cool little amulet. Cool little helmet. Or, well, I don't know, I guess it's not much of a helmet. It's more of a hat. Lightning res is useful. We'll just use the other one we have. Throw those boots on for now. Well, the early game gear is not going to be anything special, but hey, we can use this until we get our other sword back, although only for another level, and then we'll be using the dagger from the Bane set. That actually probably does more damage. We'll see. We'll compare them. That gives more useful resistances, so we'll go ahead and equip that. Okay, so we do 3 to 14 with that one. 6 to 11. Stick with the sword. Alright, let's buy a bunch of potions so we don't run into that mistake again. Also of note, when you go to dangerous areas, is another tip you can use. is open a town portal in a safe spot before you get to the dangerous area. That way, if you do die, you can get back. Of course, this doesn't apply to hardcore because you die once in hardcore and you're dead forever. Start a new character. But I'm playing softcore for this playthrough. Alright.
Join my army of the dead.
Focus on bursting down Bloodraven. She summons more and more undead as the fight goes along. And those that she summons while we're here do not give us any experience. Hit Bloodraven, there we go. Don't want to get stuck again. We do have health potions, but better not to take the risk. We can pick up our body. You can tell that one was summoned by her because I didn't get any experience when I killed it. It's almost gone. Once she dies, she kills the monsters around her. That'll help clear these guys out. There we go. Nice chunk of experience. Drop a small turn.
Bloodraven, may your madness have a swift end.
So notably, I will be allowing myself to use mercenaries. It doesn't really
I can hardly believe.
give me a huge advantage, and it just makes killing things a little faster. Depending on the part of the game you're in, sometimes mercenaries just aren't useful at all, and they'll just die. Unless you have really good gear for them, which we won't probably for a while. But early game, they're fine. They're fine as support. This is actually a pretty good bow for her. It gives her some life leech, some extra damage, and the amplified damage on striking is nice. For those who don't know, amplified damage is a curse that the necromancer has. And you cast it on a group of enemies, and those enemies take 100% extra physical damage from your attacks, from all attacks, and this having a chance to cast it means we will get the advantage of that as well. Okay, let's compare these two swords. 3 to 14. 9 to 18. So that one still does more damage.
Yes.
Sell that. And that. Give this to the mercenary. Identify this. I can sell this off because the amulet we got earlier is better. That's not awful. If we find a nice socketed active, we can just throw it in this armor. Extra damage is nice. Stamina is not super useful, but why not? Why not get some extra damage? Poison resistance, nothing wrong with that. Brings our damage up quite a bit with that poison. And we'll give the mercenary this bow.
I'll put that to good use.
Raise her damage quite a bit. 3 to 7,
Put that to
up
good
to
use.
5 to 20. She uses fire arrow and exploding arrow when she's level 12. There's also the cold mercenaries, but I don't really mind too much having a fire mercenary. They do more damage. With the trade-off that the cold mercenaries get some crowd control and the fire ones just do raw damage. Okay, so back to the Cold Plains waypoint, and we'll move to find the next area, which will probably be... So there's 4 these Act 1 areas are mostly a square shape. Whatever way you came in, the wall, the side, that wall will be not be the area that takes you to the next area or the burial grounds. Also, the entrance to the next area will not be on the same wall as the entrance to the burial grounds. So this side wall I'm walking toward is not going to be where the burial or the next area is, but we know it's going to be on this wall that I'm walking toward. There we are. Champion packs are worth more experience than regular monsters. Jewels. So this is the Cairn Stones, part of the next quest we're going to be working on. We'll go over that when we get to it. These carvers are led by this monster Rakanishu here, the blue guy. They will always be guarding the Cairn Stones. Notably, boss packs like this one give more experience than regular monsters. I just hit level 8, so we're just going to head right back to town and get into the Bane set. I know everyone's itching to see it. Okay. We gotta put some points in some stats to equip this, so we need 45 dexterity and 20 strength. Alright. We're at 15 strength, so we'll put 5 points here. Put the armor on. The belt on. Those two together give us 25% faster hit recovery and 80% enhanced damage, which is very nice. And then we need 45 dexterity. And we'll put the rest in vitality. Put this, let's see, what our damage increased. 11 to 27. 4 to 48. Wow, that is a huge increase. All right, now with all three, 30% deadly strike. That's a chance to deal double damage, basically critical strike. 3 to mana after each kill is pretty nice. Does exactly what it sounds like, helping you keep casting your skills. +1 to all skills. Great. 25% faster cast rate. We won't be using that as much, but it's there. 15 dex is good for chance to hit and block rate, and 40% better chance of getting magic items. magic, colloquially called Magic Find. It's pretty nice. Cat asks how I'm doing. I'm doing well. Hoping this channel can grow. All right, so another bonus we get from having the full set is 64 up to attack rating based on character level. That is fantastic. That means it's 8 attack rating per level, and that will help us keep being able to hit monsters. And then 15 to energy gives us a little extra mana, and that's also nice. And see what we look like. That's pretty cool. Nice little red tint to our armor. That is pretty cool looking, actually. This hat is ridiculous. But, you know, what are you going to do? Caps always look kind of funny. Let's go ahead and buy ourselves a new hat.
Good day.
Get a skull cap, which looks goofy in a different way. It has a couple sockets, so we'll throw something in there at some point. See what this jewel is. Poison resistance? Sure, why not? There we go. Nice shiny skull cap. Okay. Alright, so we can sell off the gear we changed out. We will be in this set until we are level 67, so it'll be quite a while before we change over. We better get used to this dagger because it's what we will be using. Luckily, it does scale with max damage. You get more attack rating. And that deadly strike will make it even better. 30% is a pretty good chance. Sell that off. Probably should have saved that jewel, but no big deal. We will find more. Alright, repair our gear. Refill our belt. I'm actually going to use stamina potions in this slot. So later on, once we have runes and the Heraldric Cube, we can upgrade this belt to its middle tier. And be able to have 16 slots in our belt. That says maybe we can play this sometime. Yeah, I am actually open to playing online with my viewers. That would be fun. Very much fun. Maybe do some magic finding runs or do a whole playthrough. Who knows? Pretty early on in my streaming, so we will see how our community fleshes out. Let's throw this jewel in there. Might as well. I'll hang on to the gems for now, and eventually we can make some nice gear. The only item that we won't be able to put any sock items in our dagger or shield, or sorry, dagger and armor, because they're set items, unless we use quest reward from later in the game to put sockets in them. But we can put items, socket type items, gems, runes, into our shield or helmet. So we got to remember that for upgrades later on. And we'll get to that when we have the items. Okay, so that's the stony field. Let's go back there. So we need to go to the Darkwood and find the Tree of Inifis. So first things first, let's kill off this monster. Oh, I almost forgot. We gotta assign our skill points. Okay, let's go over here where we're good damage. Relatively safe. Okay, so levitation mastery improves my ability to levitate my equipped weapon with my mind. Adds to damage, which is not bad. Attack rating, also good. Critical strike chance. So, funny thing with critical strike chance and deadly strike are they pretty much function the same way, and in the fact that they have a chance to deal more damage, but they're separate rolls. So the game determines it well in this way. First it rolls for 1. If that happens, then no more rolls happen. But if that roll fails, then the next roll happens. A critical strike will roll. I'm not sure what the order is, but it doesn't really matter effectively. First, the critical strike rolls, 5% chance. If it hits, we get double damage. No other rolls happen. Then, if that fails, deadly strike rolls, 30% chance. And then and it's done. I want to say there's one other way to get a critical strike chance, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Either way, they're separate rolls. And then weapon requirements minus 2%. That will increase over time, or with more skill levels. And that can be pretty good. Although early on it's not super useful because we are going to be just using the dagger. Still though, throw a point in there because it's a prerequisite for all these other skills. Cleave. This is the skill we're mostly going to be focusing on for now. It lets us hit all monsters in front of us. The arc, how much it hits in front of us, increases with more skill levels. The damage it does increases, attack rating, attack speed. Attack speed is pretty awesome that it increases that. So we'll definitely want to put a point in there. We're probably going to put more points in there, but we'll put 1 point in every skill we're going to be grabbing for now. So Hex Bane, we want to put a hard point in that. We're going to want this Sigil. Lethargy is very, very good. We throw a Sigil on the ground, and any monsters within that Sigil have reduced attack speed. They have reduced run walk speed. They take more damage. They have less defense. And it's very, very good. I've used it to great effect on my demon Warlock. And then Summon Goatman, nice little support guy. Throw a point in there so we can have an extra mercenary type monster to help us out. Demonic Mastery to help make them a little bit buffer. More buff. Point in Blood Oath to give them extra resistances and extra life. Make them take less damage. And then a point in Death Mark. This is a pretty cool skill. It basically lets us teleport our demons on top of a monster. It can be very useful. Okay, now we'll bind these skills. So when you're binding skills on controller, you either have the regular button presses, or if you hold left trigger, gives you a second set. I like to put quote-unquote buff type skills on the left trigger set because it's a little more cumbersome to use, but we can pre-buff before we go into fighting. So we'll put this on right trigger, left trigger, right trigger. We'll put Death Mark on right bumper. We can just teleport monsters on top. Hex Bane is kind of a buff, so we'll put that on right bumper, left trigger, right bumper. This will be our main attack skill, so I'm going to put this on the trigger. Right trigger. And we'll put the sigil. I'm actually going to put the sigil on right bumper and put the goat man on Y. So now we've got right trigger, nice cleave. That's pretty neat. All right. And then this is the sigil. Any monsters within this circle will be debilitated. And then summon our goat man. Wait, I did that wrong. Okay. Goat man is on there. Death mark is on Y. There we go. So we have the goat man here. We can have one for now. If we decide to pump more points into demonic mastery, we can get more. Yep, I did it wrong again. We need to put, okay. This is just Y. There we go. You can teleport monsters. If there's no target, they just teleport on top of you with the controller anyway. And then you can teleport on top of monsters. Daggers are good to pick up to sell. Obviously, we can't use them, but that's okay. We can't use them because we're using Bane set. Okay, so this is the entrance to the next area. You can put a portal next to it and then go find the waypoint. And then use the waypoint, get to town, and use town to get back to the portal. And another level. That was quick. Okay, for now I'm going to work on maximizing cleave. Once we hit level 12, we might try out the Hex Purge. Probably won't use the Tainted Demon, but we will want to use Find Demon once we hit level 30. Well, eventually we'll need to put points in all these. And Sigil Rancor. A sigil on the ground that enrages those who enter and has a chance for enemies to attack one another. Interesting. We'll try it out, but I think I'll probably stick with Lethargy for now. Once we hit level 12, of course. We can't try it out yet. Okay. Got this scroll. And this topaz. Gonna keep going, trying to find the waypoint while we still have this Shrine of Stamina. We can run forever while it's active. Okie dokie. Close to the waypoint. Not much of the map just left. Scepters are a paladin type weapon that can have skills. We're going to pick up for some extra gold. Same with eagle orbs, but for sorceress. Although they are class specific, meaning only the sorceress can use them. And items that are class specific sell for less to merchants. But if they have plus skills, they can still be worth it. There's the waypoint. Alright, we'll head back to town. Sell off extra gear.
The order welcomes you.
And now I think we have enough gold we can probably buy scroll or a book of town portal. Well, we can't use it, so might as well sell it. Alright, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what? Let's just buy both books. Throw the scrolls that we have into them. And then a nice little trick you can do to refill them all the way is hold down X and you refill the entire book. Same with keys, you can do that. Alright. Check and see if that's better than what she has. Probably not, but worth checking. Sell that off. This has +2 to warmth. Sells for 2,200 gold. The scepter doesn't have any plus skills and sells for much less. Not a bad weapon, but definitely don't need it. This sells. See that how this has +2 to warmth as well. Same skill as the staff we just sold, which sold for 2,200. This only sells for 575. That's because of that sorceress only part. Because it's more restricted and narrow in its usage, the merchants buy it for less. Wow, look at that dagger. Of course, I'd be finding a dagger like this on a playthrough where I can't use it. But it sells for 5,000 and will sell for more in subsequent acts. So we will hold on to it for now. It's better. Same thing as that orb. This is a druid only item, and even though it has +1 to firestorm, does not sell quite as much as something else would that has the same skills. Large charm, 10 to life, nothing wrong with that for now. Sell that. On the strength, I don't have her gloves yet, so why not? Let's see what this tool is. Fire resistance 10. Okay, so we'll hang on to that, put this away, sell this off, see if this is better than what my mercenary has. So she does 7 to 21.
Put that to good use.
This does 10 to 21. But it's only normal attack speed. So I think this one is still better because she'll attack faster with it. Plus the life leech is nice. Amplified damage. And it does extra damage to undead.
I'll put that to good use.
All right, there we go. My gold away and back to it. Okay. So we'll go through the underground passage to get to the dark wood. I gotta say, this splash damage is really cool. In Diablo II, splash damage with melee is pretty much unheard of. Very few skills do it. So this is pretty awesome. Especially if so early in the game. Oh, I want to get a big group together. Okay. Get these. So cool. Look at that goat man just tanking a whole army. This is really cool. Very cool, very cool. Grab this preserved head. Those are the necromancer class-specific items. Wow, that was 2 level up in just this group. That is crazy. That is a ton of experience. That was cool. That was really cool. Okay, so we want to keep working on 11. Wait, is that like 3 levels? Crazy. Okay, we'll keep working on this. It keeps increasing in damage, attack speed. It makes it a bigger arc. This skill is great. I love it. A lot of fun. It now has an arc of 180 degrees, which is, for those who don't know degrees, that is basically a half circle in front of you. Pretty good. And it does extra damage. We're up to 6 to 71 damage, and that's just going to keep going up. Good stuff. All right, and let's get some extra life points because we're going to be in the fray, so we're going to want as much life as we can get. I always like to check shrines. Skill shrine. I like the experience shrine I have right now. Oh, just ran out. I guess we can grab the skill shrine. Might as well. What I am looking for, though, mostly is a gem shrine. If we find a gem shrine, I will explain how they work. When we get there, I'm sure eventually we'll find one. They're pretty rare, but I mean, in the lifetime of your game, you'll probably find a couple at least. Tip Sapphire. This is a lot of fun. I really enjoy this play style. Look at that. I love it. So much fun. Hey. Oh, cool. Well, I hope you guys are having fun watching as much as I'm having fun playing. Hunter's bow. If that has 3 sockets, it could be a good upgrade for my mercenary. It does not. No, we won't need that. We want to try to get one with 3 sockets. You can get those in Act 1 normal, and shove a bunch of gems or runes in there and give her a bunch of extra damage. Grab this dagger. Plus the skills on them can make them worth a lot. My demon is ridiculously tanky. Wow, already level 12. Okay. Now that we're level 12, we have access to a new tier of skills. Echoing Strike, as I said, I won't be using, but we will need a point in it so that we can get to Blade Warp, which I will explain once we get to it. Hex Purge. Hex is your weapon to warp enemies, creating a chance they will erupt when hit. That's pretty cool. We'll try it out. Summon Tainted, I don't think I'm going to be using. I'm going to mostly be using the Goat Man. And then eventually the Bind Demon. Probably not going to use Goat Man once we hit Bind Demon, because since we're focusing on the Eldritch tree, I'm not going to have a lot of extra skill points to put into Mastery if you have more than one minion besides my Mercenary. And so I will only be able to bind one demon and not have any extra Goatmen. But for now, the Goatman will be my tank of choice. These two, I might use the Defiler for a bit. It is pretty good. It binds enemies together so that they take shared damage, which means even more crowd control, or not crowd control, but splash damage, AoE. But of course, like I said before, once we hit Bind Demon level, we will want to be using that. We may change that later on and decide to put some points into Demonic Mastery so we can have, say, a Bound Demon and a Defiler. But we'll decide that later on. For now, we're not going to have extra points to spare. As far as Chaos, the Sigil Rancor, I'm going to start with this Hex and try it out. Okay, let's bound that. I'm actually going to bound this to B, because it is a buff, but we are going to be recasting it pretty often. Oh, it adds an effect. This Hex seems like it... Oh, and it also changes how the weapon looks when it's floating. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's compare. Let's see what this one looks like. This one's kind of a blue and red glow. This one is green. That's pretty cool. All right, the tree is right next to the exit. This monster here, Treehead Woodfist, will always be here guarding this tree. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Grab these monsters, grab the loot. And then just like with the Sony Field, we want to try... Oh wow, set sash. Another item we can't use because we are using our set. This is a good weapon, a good belt too. I'll explain why when we identify it. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and head back to town so that we can clear out our inventory and pick up some more loot.
Greetings.
right. Just selling off extra loot. A lot of the stuff I pick up will be for loot or for gold purposes. All right. So this set belt is Death's Guard. And it is one of the earliest ways you can find Cannot Be Frozen. As I stated before, Cannot Be Frozen is pivotal on a melee character because if you get chilled or frozen, you move and attack much slower and is dangerous. But we can't use it. And my mercenary does not have a belt slot, so we're going to sell it. Rare jewel. Fire resistance, some extra defense, 2 minimum damage. Probably got to grab another helmet and slap it in there with another jewel once we find a second. Now hang on to my gems for now. Okay. Oh, I need to refill my book of scrolls. I'll need those extra scrolls of town portal. All right, so our goal here is, well, first of all, pick up loot that we want to grab. But we need to find the waypoint so that we can come back here when we're done with the quest we're on. Well, and also we don't want to forget to grab the trees.
Such an old tree.
Scroll.
Pity its fruits are just this scroll.
Hey, look at that. Easy peasy. Waypoint. All right. So we take the scroll. The Scroll of Inefis. You can open it up and look at it. This corresponds with those stones we found in the stony field.
Ah, very good. I have translated the runes on this.
Take it to Akara. She will translate it. Now, you can't open it and look at the order. But a time-honored tradition for Diablo players is to just press the stones until something happens. Because the game will not let you fail when it comes to this. You cannot accidentally press the wrong stone. So you just run around, keep pressing them, and eventually it will work. Watch the lightning, the fireworks, or the lightning works, I guess. And portal opens to Tristram, the town from the first game. And it's seen better days.
This is what happens when half measures are taken with demons.
Grab this hunter's bow, might be better than what my mercenary already has. Another level. We are just leveling like crazy. Okay. Sigil Rancor. Let's try that out on a big group when we have a chance. Griswold. The first game, he was your friend and the blacksmith. Since then, he has been turned first to guard the town and kill invaders. Sadly. Best thing you can do for him is put him out of his misery. Okay.
Help!
Head into the town square, you'll find Kane's gibbet.
Go to the rogues camp now.
Another rare hunter's bow. Could be good. So, this hex seems to be better for groups of enemies. And this one seems to be better for single target. Although, we've applied both to entire groups because of the cleave skill.
I need mana.
Wirt, he was saving up gold to leave the town, and sadly, he never got the chance. Don't need his leg for now. We might come back to it later, though. If we do, I'll explain why when we get there. All right, we have cleared the area.
As a token of my gratitude, I will identify items for you at no charge. Regrettably.
So, Kane gives us a nice little boon where we don't need to pay him to identify every item in our inventory.
You have written.
So, neither of these are very good, so I'm going to sell them. Armor I can throw on my mercenary because she doesn't have any right now. 1985, nice. 1174. Only 360. 41. Ah, look at that. That's pretty cool. But we're not a barbarian, so we don't need it. Yeah, it's better than no ring at all, which is what we currently have.
I'll put that to good use.
All right, that's the first 3 quests done. Oops, I put those Skulls in the shared stash. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I think there was 2 of them. We will be clearing that out before we continue next time. Whoops. We're going to the Darkwood to continue our playthrough for the next quest. We are slapping. Old book. +2 to levitation mastery. Yeah, don't mind if I do. That'll increase our damage a bit. Extra critical strike chance as well. And attack rating. Yeah, why not? And now we're more learned. Okay. So just like the other areas in Act 1, follow the path to find the next area. These cloths on these tables can be checked for items. They always, or usually have something under them. Kill off these last few monsters, then move into the next area. Grand Charm. Okay. Wow. Another level already. We are just leveling insanely fast. I gotta say, I love it. I am saving up some skill points. For now, we don't have any problems with survivability. And it's good to have extra stat points in case you need more strength, per se. Or for instance, in case you find a piece of gear you want to wear. Okay, so let's plan for level 18. We want a point in Psychic Ward and also in Blade Warp. So that's 2 points we need for that. And that's it. So we just need to save up 2 skill points, which we will get on level 17 and 18. So for now, we can just keep pumping points into Cleave, increasing its effectiveness. Alright, we want to find the waypoint, and there's also a tower in this area. That is our next quest objective. Alright, so this river here has a bridge. That is to the next part of this area, but I want to explore the rest of this side of the river before we go that way. Stuff. Refilling shrine, might as well. Refills your health and mana. Already full up on stuff. I can probably drop some of these potions because they're not really in much danger right now. Another old book. We'll drop all the minor potions. Drop the light one. Minor is the smallest, light is the next smallest. Okay, and organize. Okay, let's see what this old book is. Does not add anything. So it's not worth much. And it's also not useful to us. Grab this armor. And this hat. Wow. That's a unique. Very cool. All right. We're going to go back to town, sell off our extra loot. And then we'll check out that sword. Another item we can't use.
The order welcomes you.
3 to dexterity, plus 15 to stamina. I mean, I don't have... And 1 to 2 fire damage. I don't have a lot of charms yet, so I can go ahead and use those for now. 30% extra, 36% extra gold for monsters is always nice. Damage reduced by 1 is just a smidge better than 1 to energy. Don't need that. Don't need a second stack of keys. Don't need that. Like that plus 2 to levitation mastery, so we probably won't change shields until we find a better book. That is better than we have. Oh, can't use that, and it's not better than the one my mercenary has. That can be thrown on my mercenary. Save that to sell in later acts.
I'll put that to good use.
Oops, did it again. Gotta remember I'm not storing my gems in the stash tab yet. We will once we clear it out. I'll be having another session this evening at 6 my time, and that's Pacific time. For reference, it is currently 1:52 p.m. my time. I will schedule that after this stream ends. This way. Okay. Now we can check out this unique sword. This sword is Rixot's Keen. It's a pretty good early game sword. But we can't use it because we are using our dagger. That's okay. This dagger is pretty good. But for any early game melee character, this is a pretty good weapon. 25% of chance of crushing blow is fantastic early. That's pretty good damage, bonus to attack rating, little extra defense. It's a good little sword. We'll hang on to it just because it's a unique. Why not? Pretty cool. But we won't be using it. At the very most, we might use it for an Act 5 mercenary. But we'll probably find something better by then. Or maybe not. Hard to say. 25% crushing blow is one of those stats that just scales with the game because it always deals percentage-based damage. It will always do good damage when it procs. And we could upgrade it to the next tier of weapon in its line so it does more damage. So it might be worth using. For the mercenary. Or even for us once we switch over to Horazon set, because the Horazon set does not have a weapon. Although I would hope by then we'll find something better. We'll see. I'm glad the waypoint wasn't on the other side of the river. The next quest is to kill the Countess. And if you don't know, the Countess has a special drop table. She almost always drops runes, and runes are very useful. So we will probably be farming her a bit. Although the runes we need are somewhat less than other playthroughs because we can't create a weapon or armor rune word early on since we're using our set items. That being said, there are shield and helmet rune words we probably want to use. So we'll farm for some runes for that. And also for just the rune usage alone is pretty useful. We can make a bow for our mercenary, for example. It has 3 Tal runes in it that does a whole bunch of extra poison damage. So here's the tower. Still haven't found the waypoint, but it should be nearby. There's not much of this map left. Fulminating potion, grab that. And there's the waypoint. This map is great for farming the tower because we just come from the waypoint. And the tower's right here. Nice short walk. All right, let's head into the tower.
Oh, fresh blood smells far sweeter than this.
Wow, that was pretty cool. Speaking of upgrading, we can also possibly upgrade Stagger if it starts falling off in damage. Will help it scale a bit better into Nightmare difficulty, since we won't stop using it until we're level 67. Wow, look at all those drops. Dagger, Grand Charm, and Rain, Sprinkling Gas Potion, Fulminating Potion, and the rest of this I can leave. And nice little stairs down map. Quick and easy. I had another big chest. This time it didn't have a big drop. But it did drop a book. Up there in the top left, you can, or top right, you can see the icon that tells me that my weapon is low on durability. We can take it to the blacksmith and get it repaired. We'll do that here soon. It is at 2 of 24. If it breaks or if we fill up on inventory space, we can head back. Thankfully, broken items can be repaired. Doesn't cost any extra or anything as far as I'm aware. Unless they're ethereal. Then they cannot be repaired at all, no matter what. These maps are really, really good. Nice quick stairs down. There's 5 levels to this, the 5th level having the boss on it. Another level. Level 15 already. Okay, so we're full up on items. Head back to town, sell off extra loot, and go over and repair our gear. Repairs are a constant maintenance thing for melee characters usually, unless they have an indestructible weapon.
Good day.
It's just part of playing melee in this game. 1 to 2 fire damage. Again, we don't have a lot of charms yet, so there's no reason really no reason not to use ones we find. It's not a lot. It's one of the first we will replace, but it's extra damage. And extra damage is extra damage. Nothing wrong with that. Plus 2 to pretty much the same book we are currently wearing, except it has magic damage instead of fire damage. We'll find better. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not really that much better than what we have, or better at all. Also, this is a white textbook, so if we ever decide to put sockets in it, we can make a rune word in it. We can't do that with blue items, which was what that book was. My mercenary's armor is better. Don't need that. Okay. Go ahead and throw this stuff in the stash. Oh, did it again. It's such an hard habit to break now that we've got this expansion. But it won't be a problem after this session. Okay. You can head over to Charcy and hold L, the left button, left joystick button down if you're on controller, and use the repair all option. It repairs all the gear you are currently using on your person. Okay, so upgrades we can potentially get is a helmet, gloves, boots, and our jewelry, and our shield. We're not going to find a shield upgrade in here. It's not, they don't sell books, and we're usually going to want to use a book with the Warlock because of the plus skills. And honestly, vendor gear is usually not going to be better than any of this, but one exception is that helmets you can make rune words in. So if you find a good socketed helmet, it's worth grabbing. Usually good to check out the vendors for those. Also, at some point we can gamble and get some decent gear upgrades potentially from there. Okay. Grab this charm and head on. This map is probably one of the best maps I've ever seen for farming the Countess. It's nice and quick paths down to the level we need to get to. These two side rooms will always have a bunch of gold. Since we're going to want to gamble later, I might use that to make an armor for my mercenary. Since we're going to want to gamble later, it's worth grabbing all the gold. This room as well. Okay. The green lady there in the back of the room is the Countess. Tome, that's another. It's not too hard. And as you can see, she dropped 3 runes. She always drops. Almost always drops runes. Look at that, another unique and a set shield.
And blood is welcome to my cause. I can't carry anymore.
Okay. Sell that. So, we're going to finish up this stream by doing a few Countess runs. As many as we can get in before the end of the stream. So, since we're going to be doing that, you do these runs by saving and exiting and going back into the game. Resets the maps. You go back into the game, and all the monsters are reset.
Stay a while and listen.
Resummon our goat man.
The Order welcomes you.
Okay. Well, that, and also that. That might be good for my mercenary. All that. Other damage charm, always good to have. It's better. Better. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Alright, Stout Nail. This is a fine early weapon. Not anything to write home about, but not bad either. We won't be using it, of course. And Clegglaw's Claw. Clegglaw's has 3 parts to its set. A shield, a pair of gloves, and a weapon. If we happen to find the gloves, we could use a 2-part and see what kind of bonus that gives us. So I'll hang on to that for now. Hang on to that because I'm, uniques. Why not? Just nice little trophies. All right, another point in cleave. See if this is better for my mercenary. And it is. Okay. Notably, ethereal items can be used by mercenaries indefinitely. They do not lose durability while equipped on a mercenary. Also, this shield, or this helmet, actually both of these helmets, funny enough, have the repair's durability affix. So even if I was using them, they would repair themselves, which is cool. But we don't need them for ourselves. I mean, I guess we could use it, but it's fine. We'll give it to our mercenary, give her a little more survivability. Whoops. Okay. So we'll throw this in here too in case we find the gloves and we can try it out. We put these runes away up here for now. Again, we'll be putting all of the gems and runes into their respective tabs on our next session this evening. Okay. I guess I'll put that armor away. For our mercenary for later, potentially. Alright. Looks like we'll have time for one more run. And then we'll wrap it up. And we'll return in a few hours. See what this dagger is? Wow, look at all those skills. That is a fantastic dagger for early on. If you're focusing on miasma and with a side of demons, you couldn't ask for much more. And once again, we find a piece of gear we can't use that's really, really good. That's okay though. We're fine. We're doing good damage. It's scaling over time. We're doing okay. Doing okay. In fact, I'd say we're doing excellent. Always be careful with archers. They do a lot of damage and can be dangerous, especially boss packs of them. Can be very dangerous. Champion packs like these are always good for experience. Got another level up. That's good. Look at that. Another unique. And this is part of the reason I play with a mod that it helps increase drop rates by a bit. It's just fun to have loot moments. I enjoy loot. And also, I play single player mostly, and when I'm playing single player, I don't see why I shouldn't have access to endgame gear. In this game, endgame gear tends to be exceedingly rare. Ridiculously rare, in fact. It's so rare that even if you've played for 25 years, you may never see some of them. They're just that kind of rare. And if I'm playing single player, I shouldn't be restricted from using those just because of that. So I do play with some mods that make it so that I do have access to those in-game items, just increasing their chance of dropping. I'm not a person who has thousands of hours just to grind to get those rare items in a reasonable amount of time. You're an adult like me, you have a life outside of your gaming. It's nice to be able to have access to those really cool items without having to spend thousands of hours to find them. Okay, that was a good run and a great session. We got pretty far, got all the way to the Countess. Got some runes. We've already got 2 Tal runes, which is the main ones I want. I also want to get at least 3 Ral runes that can be cubed up into an Ort rune. And then we'll hope for a Soul rune at some point, so we can make a lore helmet, which I'll show you when we get there. Also wouldn't mind the runes for a Rhyme Shield, which I will show you once we get there. Although those probably won't be available until Nightmare. We have the Eth rune, or we'll probably get an Eth rune if we don't have one. But the Shale is, along with Soul, is pretty hard to come by in normal. But it'd still be good to get the Eth rune, so when we do find a Shale, we can make that and find the runes to make an Ort, so that we have the Ort for the lower helmet. So that'll be our goal, is to get some 3 Ral runes, several Tal runes, and an F rune. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in a few hours. But until then, this is Grumbo, signing off.